Hi everyone, I'm Ginny and I'm going to be leading today's data wrangling in our coding outreach group workshop. Although I'm disappointed that I can't be with you all in person today, please feel free to email me anytime with questions at virginia.ulishny@temple.edu. Although I know you're in extremely capable hands with the coding outreach group leaders who are working with you today. So I'm going to start with a bit of an introduction of what the workshop today is going to discuss. So first, I'm going to begin with why we need data wrangling in the first place. And the reason for this is that although a lot of the time in statistics classes or in online tutorials to learn a particular type of analysis, we might get data in a nice organized format. Data doesn't usually come this way in the wild. Usually raw data is a lot messier than that, which I'm sure most of you know already. But today we're just going to be talking about concise ways to make this data tidier so that we can more quickly get to the visualization and analysis steps that we are interested in. So basically, we want our data to go from season 1 of The Office, John Krasinski, to present day John Krasinski. I had to include a glow up to talk about data wrangling. So data wrangling is basically just the process of organizing data into the necessary format that we might need it in to run any analysis or visualization or other type of modeling. So we're going to be working with rectangular data structures in R that are called data frames. And we'll be working with these in a tidy data format in which each column represents a variable. Every row represents an observation, or usually in our case in psychology, this would be a participant, and every cell is a value. So the steps that we're going to go through today to wrangle data are first exploring data to kind of get a better sense of the raw data format that we've gotten in the first place and kind of the types of variables that we're given. And we're going to go through some organization steps after that. And then finally, find ways to make these organization steps more concise. We're also going to discuss a little bit of basic text cleaning, although that is not the focus of the workshop. And finally, I'm going to have a few exercises to apply the wrangling skills to explore and run a couple of basic analyses. So the data that we're going to be using today is from the New York Times cooking website, and it is the comment data from this website. So every row will be a different comment on a different recipe. So the first thing that we're going to do with this data is explore it using base R and skim R functions. So it's going to come in its most raw, messiest form, which is actually perfect for the workshop today, since it's a pretty good representation of how messy data can be when we first get it. So we're going to use these basic functions to explore and kind of better understand the data structure and variable types that we have, and some of the count frequencies of the different variables, and then finally get some basic descriptive statistics and plots so we kind of know what's going on with our data. And then from there, we're going to organize it using some tidyr and dplyr functions, including renaming columns, selecting columns and filtering rows by certain values, arranging columns in ascending or descending order, and then mutating and transmuting to add new columns, and then finally joining multiple data frames together. Also, this tends to be the case in coding, but there are many ways to achieve some of these goals. For example, a lot of base R functions can be used for the same outcomes, so don't feel limited by these methods. If there's a way that makes more sense to you, feel free to use that step as well. And then finally, we're going to walk through how to make some of the organization steps more concise using pipes. And then we'll go into some basic text cleaning with the stringer package. So we'll use this to remove unwanted characters from our comments, and then tokenize, remove stop words, and calculate sentiment in a super basic sentiment analysis without getting into the natural language processing details, which is a later workshop. And then finally, we're going to apply these wrangling skills to run some basic analyses, which will be a t-test comparing sentiment on two specific recipes, and then seeing whether sentiment is related to text length using a regression analysis. So I'm looking forward to getting started.